Should you get Mulberry? Short answer, yes. Long answer, this entire video.
ゴーグルをよし装着完了いきますよ
Mulberry is a 5-star wandering medic from Yan, an official catastrophe rescue team member called Chun Chien. As a partnership with Rhodes Island, Mulberry is currently learning how to deal with oropathy patient and lending a hand with her experience to help Rhodes medical personnel. This introverted medic is the first wandering medic in the game, so there's a lot to talk about, especially what makes this medic different than the other. As a wandering medic, she can heal allied unit and restore elemental damage, equal to half of her attack stats, and can still recover the elemental damage, even if the allied unit doesn't lose any HP. So with Mulberry, you can now restore this elemental damage accumulation circle. Elemental damage won't damage your operators immediately, but they are really troublesome if it's managed to pass the threshold. There are 3 kind of elemental in the game. One is the Nervious Impairment from Undertide's event. That can inflict true damage and stun your operators. Corrosion from Dosol's holiday. This one will inflict some physical damage to your operators, and the operator defense will permanently get reduced by 100, and this can stack. Lastly, the new burn damage in episode 9. Inflicted a big damage of arts damage, and reduced your operator's resistance. But all of them can be restored by using Wandering Medic. Besides that, Wandering Medic have a wider range than most medic, without any penalty like Therapist Medic. As for Mulberry's general stats, she has a low attack which will also affect her elemental damage healing. For a healer that only heal one target, this is low. But keep in mind her priority is to restore elemental damage, not big raw healing. She has an extra resistance, and not including Lancet 2. She and her fellow wandering medic Honeyberry are currently the cheapest medic in the game. As for her talent, when Mulberry is deployed with another medic, she will increase her own and all other medic attack that are on the field. Deploying 2 medics is a typical strategy to use, so it's not hard to trigger this talent. But well, the attack buff she gives is not really necessary, so it's not essential to bring other medic if your strategy can work with her only. And this is Mulberry's potentials upgrade list. No big improvement for general usage, so she's fine even without potentials. And currently she doesn't have a module upgrade. Moving to her skills. Her first skill, your generic but awesomely reliable healing skill. Her next heal have an increased amount of healing and elemental damage recovery. So if I'm not mistaken, her M3 should recover elemental damage with 90% of her attack. The skill also prioritize anyone with the highest elemental damage taken, not the one with the lowest HP. So it will help serve her purpose to counter elemental damage. It's a great skill to help few other operators to counter elemental damage with consistent healing. But if there's many operators who got overwhelmed by elemental damage, then her next skill is just the right choice. Moving to her second skill, greatly reduce her attack interval. Prioritize the target with the highest elemental damage taken, and allies within her range will receive less elemental damage. This skill will make Mulberry give a greater healing per second. It will be very useful to deal with enemy that can constantly use elemental damage, or when you got enemies swarming into your operator's position. The downside of this skill is that it has a terrible skill uptime, with more than 60 SP cost for only 30 seconds of duration. So you will have to accurately timing this skill usage. For skill masteries, I think both of her skills are equally important. But luckily you don't really need to mastery 3 both of her skills. First thing first, you should focus on mastery her second skill, to quickly heal your squad and prevent more elemental damage to attack you. To make the most of it, of course you have to M3 this skill, but overall M2 of this skill is enough, because that's the maximum attack interval reduction you can get. and the M3 gains are just too small to justify the mastery cost. Her skill 1 is for more consistent elemental damage. It's her best healing skill when elemental damage is your secondary concern. And most importantly, you can just mastery 1 this skill. To reduce her SP cost to 4, considering her attack interval, she will need to do 1 heal, and then her second healing will be this skill. And on top of that, her M1 can hold 2 charges. As for her base skills, when assigned to the HR office, increase networking by 20%, and reduce morale consumption. Also her E2 base skill will add +10 worldly plight for every recruitment slot. This worldly plight are used by Mr. Nothing to increase his trading post skill acquisition. So, will Mulberry become a good operator for your team? With upcoming content and new enemies that can inflict elemental damage, a wandering medic is a must to be in your team. And considering Mulberry's abilities that can provide elemental damage reduction to those within her range and fast healing, she's a very great medic in general. So grab your orundum. We got Elliot's pheasant to gacha. That should be all. Never mind, peace is never an option. Adios.